On the evening of February 1st, 2021, security cameras from an apartment building in Canton, Massachusetts captured footage of Sandra Birchmore as she went outside to clear snow from her car. A severe snowstorm was moving into the area, likely to keep everyone inside for at least a day. This footage marked the last known time that Sandra was seen alive, aside from her alleged killer. Sandra, a 23-year-old instructional assistant, was found dead in her apartment under suspicious circumstances. The Canton Police Department, which knew her well due to her involvement in their Police Explorer program, initially reported her death as a suicide. This sparked widespread scrutiny and allegations of corruption within the department. Evidence that emerged later questioned the official account, shocking the community and raising many unanswered questions. On the morning of February 4, 2021, a Canton police officer responded to a welfare check at the Canton Woods Apartments. Sandra had not reported to work at Sharon Public Schools since the storm began, raising concerns among her colleagues. Upon entering her apartment, officers found Sandra's body on the floor of her bedroom, a strap around her neck attached to a closet door. Her death appeared to have occurred days earlier. Despite Sandra's long association with the local police, the initial examination found no signs of foul play. Sandra had been part of the Police Explorer program as a teenager, a training initiative for those interested in law enforcement careers. She spent 6 years in the program, developing friendships with officers across Norfolk County. Her sudden death came as a shock to many who knew her. The police noted that nothing seemed out of place in her cluttered apartment. There were no visible signs of struggle or forced entry. These observations, combined with how Sandra's body was found, led officers to conclude that she had taken her own life. As Sandra's family began cleaning out her apartment, they found numerous indications that she was actively planning for the future. There were wet clothes in the washing machine, newly purchased items still in their packaging, and other signs of daily life abruptly interrupted. Most notably, Sandra was 3 months pregnant. Among her belongings, her family found a baby stroller, newborn clothing, and a poster with an ultrasound photo and the message, "Congratulations, you're going to be a father," sprinkled with glitter. The family was stunned and questioned the initial ruling of suicide. In addition to these items, they discovered a broken necklace, a favorite of Sandra's, lying on the floor. The chain had snapped, not at the clasp, but in a way that suggested it had been forcefully pulled. A clump of hair was entangled in the necklace, raising suspicions that a struggle had taken place before her death. Despite these troubling discoveries, the local police did not alter their initial conclusion. A recording of the officer's call to Sandra's aunt, informing her of the death, revealed their determination to maintain the suicide narrative. The family, however, could not accept this explanation. Sandra's journey into law enforcement began at age 12 when she joined the Police Explorers program. Her passion for policing may have stemmed from a need for stability after losing her mother and grandmother at a young age. Sandra's father was not present in her life, and she struggled with emotional issues, seeking therapy for several years. Despite these challenges, she was excited about becoming a mother. On the day she died, Sandra had plans for her baby, including an upcoming OB-GYN appointment and preparations for a pregnancy announcement and a gender reveal party. She had even arranged a newborn photo session. This enthusiasm for her future as a mother made the official conclusion of suicide difficult for her loved ones to comprehend. As Massachusetts State Police began investigating, they were frequently directed to one-man detective Matthew Farwell of the Stoughton Police Department, whom Sandra had named as the father of her unborn child. Matthew, 38, was married with 3 children and had known Sandra since she was 14. He had been involved with the Police Explorers program, where he first met Sandra. Matthew admitted to a brief affair with Sandra, claiming they had reconnected a few months before after a night of drinking. He acknowledged meeting her a few more times, but denied being the father of her child, stating that the timing didn't match. He claimed to have ended the relationship on the evening of February 1 during an argument at Sandra's apartment and insisted she was alive when he left. Those who knew Sandra, however, found it hard to believe that she would keep such a significant secret. Sandra was known for oversharing, even about her relationship with Matthew. Her family and friends were well aware of the relationship and had been disturbed by it. Sandra had even confided to her cousin about a previous miscarriage, where the father was also a police officer. Following Sandra's death, Matthew's admission led to an internal investigation at the Stoughton Police Department. The results were shocking. 3 members of the department, including Matthew's twin brother, Officer William Farwell, and former Deputy Chief Robert Devine, were implicated in grooming and abusing Sandra. Matthew's relationship with Sandra allegedly began when she was 15, well below the age of consent, in Massachusetts. The investigation revealed that both William and Robert maintained physical relationships with Sandra at the time of her death. William had also attempted to introduce her to other men, and another officer from a different department was involved. Despite the overwhelming evidence, no criminal charges were filed against the officers, and they were only forced to resign. Matthew's behavior had been reported to the police by a friend of Sandra's just weeks before her death. This friend had called the department to report a dispute over money, mentioning Matthew's inappropriate relationship with Sandra. The information was relayed directly to Matthew, who instructed the officer to keep it quiet. Another friend came forward after Sandra's death, sharing that Sandra had told her Matthew had become violent when they discussed the pregnancy. In the days leading up to her death, Matthew's attitude towards Sandra seemed to change. He began discussing the possibility of being involved in the child's life and even asked for a key to her apartment. Surveillance footage captured him entering Sandra's building on the night she died. He was seen leaving less than 30 minutes later. Data from Sandra's iPhone showed her last movement at 9:40 p.m., just minutes before Matthew was seen leaving her apartment. Despite this evidence, the county declined to pursue charges. It wasn't until the FBI took over the case that Matthew was finally arrested in August 2024, charged with killing a witness. Federal authorities argued that Matthew killed Sandra to silence her and staged the scene to look like a suicide, exploiting his training in crime scene analysis. The tragic case of Sandra Birchmore highlighted systemic issues within law enforcement explorer programs. An investigation by the Marshall Project revealed widespread allegations of sexual abuse and misconduct, often with little consequence for the perpetrators. Sandra's family has not given up their fight for justice. They filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the town of Stoughton, alleging negligence and emotional distress caused by a years-long grooming scheme involving multiple officers. They also sought a second opinion on Sandra's autopsy from Dr. Michael Baden, a renowned forensic pathologist. Dr. Baden concluded that Sandra's death was not a suicide, but a homicide caused by strangulation. The FBI's ongoing investigation continues to shed light on the corruption that allowed Sandra's abuse to go unchecked for so long. The hope is that her case will serve as a catalyst for change, ensuring that no other young woman suffers as she did. The tragic story of Sandra Birchmore is a stark reminder of the dangers posed by those in positions of authority who exploit their power. Her death has left a lasting impact on the community, sparking a broader conversation about police misconduct and the need for systemic reform.